Right, welcome to another video based in the world of Lord of the Rings Online, and we're following Bilbo on his journey in the Hobbit, and we're just going to get going here up the hill into the Misty Mountains. Now, we have not been to this area in any of my previous videos. Look, there's Rivendell. We've not been to this area in any of my previous videos, so we're going to just run and we're going to have a good look around. And we're going to take a bit of time and we're going to have a chat about stuff. So first thing to remember is that if you haven't read The Hobbit, which is what this video is about, this will contain spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, it will contain spoilers. But if you haven't seen either, then I definitely recommend reading the book first. Although it is a children's book, so maybe some people might be a little bit, find it a little bit childish, I guess. But it's a well-written children's book. I think I saw somebody asked somewhere on one of the fantasy groups on in the friend face. What is it? Friend face they call it. That asked which order you should read the Tolkien's books in, and everybody's coming back saying you must read The Hobbit first, and then Lord of the Rings, and then do the Silmarillion if you really like it all. But and everybody was saying that, and then somebody came along and said, well, you should only start with The Hobbit if you are 9. And maybe that's a good point. Don't know. What do you think? Drop a comment in the comments. Let me know what you think about that. So anyway, the other thing I want to tell you... So anyway, spoilers ahead. The other thing I want to tell you is that I think in my first video of this series, this is the Hobbit series, my first video of this, I think I pointed out that game is free. You can download it and play it. And you can get yourself a character and you could go wandering around in Middle-earth. Oh, look, we're in the snow. Look, it's getting cold. You can go wandering around in Middle-earth and you can see all the places that are mentioned in the books. And done very well in a kind of, it's not photorealistic graphics, but they're very well done, aren't they? I think. And so even on a fairly old computer, you can get decent graphics going with this game, because it's a fairly old game. It's been around since 2007. Hang on, I'm just going to have a slurp of my tea. Excuse me, tisane, in fact, rather than tea, isn't it? Anyway, so yes, so I thought that since I was encouraging people to try it for free, and it will take up a bit of space in your computer, but hey, not as big as some things. And but the problem is, in a free account, you only get one character to play with, I think, at the beginning. So you might be wondering what's a good race and class to play. Well, race isn't such a big deal. I think that there's little tiny advantages depending on which race you are as to whether you're going to be good at a particular class or whatever. But it really doesn't matter, I think. In the end, I don't think it makes any real difference. There are a few little different quests and things that are based on race and things like that. But in the end, any race is good. So I wouldn't worry too much about race, but class is an interesting one. Class gives you a different game experience depending which class you choose. And of course, you don't really know at the beginning of the game which one's going to work the best. And so I thought what I would do, because there's no point me spoiling the beginning of the game for you anyway, and you don't see how the classes really work until later in the game. So I thought what I might do is a series of videos on what the classes do at about level 55-ish, which is where they start, where they've got most of the skills that they would have. But and then, after level 55 all the way up to 150 or whatever the level cap is nowadays, those skills are really just improved. So I thought what I would do is do that and do a little video. I don't have all the classes. I've mucked around with some, but some of them bore me, so I find them less interesting, so I don't bother doing taking that class much past level 20 once I've done it, but I've taken a few classes up to level 55-ish where most of the skills are available, so I'll do a little tour of those classes maybe in a few videos and make a few suggestions. There are some classes you can't get on the free account as well. You have to be a VIP to get, and I better check those before we go ahead. But anyway, here we are going up the Misty Mountains. Look, Misty Mountains. There's stuff up there, and things in the Hobbit. In fact, they wander up here and get attacked in a big storm by giants hurling rocks and things. And there are giants in the Misty Mountains in the game, but we have to go on a bit of a detour to get to them. We're just heading straight for the path that the company took, and those giants aren't on that path. So we'll just ignore them. Tisane, that's what you call it, isn't it? Herbal tea. But this is a spicy tea rather than a herbal tea. It's ginger, spicy ginger. Recommend it. The drop of honey in it, lovely. Yeah. So anyway, what else? So yes, that's what we're going to do. There's some platinum. That's quite valuable to collect. You can sell that for good money because it's the jeweler's metal at this particular level. And it's rarer resource. Getting money in the game, what they call gold in the game, is relatively easy. You just go around collecting resources and then sell it on the auction site, on the auction market, or whatever it is. There's wood as well. You see wood for collecting. But again, as a non-VIP, you've limited access to those sort of services. But I mean, the main thing is, if you're just going to come and have a look around in Tolkien's world, you can just get a free account and have a go. And if you like it, well, you can consider becoming a VIP, I suppose. That would be the thing to do, right? And then you can get all the other stuff. Get more characters, try different classes, that sort of thing. And there are some advantages to having a bit of money to spend in the store. You can earn money in the store on a free account. Money for the store, that's what we call Lotro Gold or something like that. And Lotro points might be. And you can spend that in the store for new stuff. I mean, there's a couple of things that are very handy. The universal crafting tool is very handy. And the various different extra methods of getting around the world are handy to spend money on. So there's a few things that are handy to spend money on. So paying your VIP actually pays off because you just buy those things, and that, you know, you get a certain amount of Lotro points every month when you pay your VIP installment, and so it works out. I don't know what the cost is because I joined way back in 2007. I'm a life member, so there you go. I don't have to pay at all. Probably almost the best 200 quid I've ever spent, I think. Had to pay 200 quid to get the lifers account, and yes, well, it's lasted. Still playing the game 18 years later. So anyway, yes, encourage you to give it a go. Anyway, here's Bilbo gone up through the Misty Mountains with Thorin and company. There's a whole lot of walking. In fact, quite a lot of the actual journey isn't mentioned. We've talked about this before. We really jump from action to action in The Hobbit because, of course, it's aimed at children, so they like the action. And there's not so much of the wandering along, looking at the scenery and having a chat about stuff as there is in Lord of the Rings, which makes the Lord of the Rings very, very deep. But kids get bored with that kind of stuff, so it doesn't happen. Look, bridge. How do these rocks get held up, eh? How do they hold them up? Oh, there's stanchions there. There you go. That's how you hold them up. Right. So on we go. And the world itself is created beautifully. We've come up from Rivendell. We're now marching up through the Misty Mountains. And we're trying to get over to the other side, the Vales of the Anduin, in order to get across to Mirkwood and get ourselves up to the Misty Mountain. Not the Misty Mountain, the Lonely Mountain, to fight Smaug and destroy him and take over Erebor and give the dwarfs their home back and that kind of stuff, which is ludicrously ambitious, but they do it anyway. Gandalf pushes them all out the door. Go and fight the dragon, he says, and then he disappears. Anyway. We're following the path around the mountain, heading for the road to... Heading for the road to the other side of the mountains, basically. Following this. This is a road that you would follow to get over to the other side. And they expected this path to be relatively clear, but in the Hobbit they were talking, there's always a chance of goblins in the mountains and that kind of thing. So, got to watch out for goblins. And we're going to see a few of them in a minute. See, these things here, these are all goblin signs. Signs of goblins. But of course, in this particular game, the events of The Hobbit happened quite a long time ago, because we're in the time of Frodo, really, and the Lord of the Rings. And in fact, it was quite a while before the developers of the game got the rights to The Hobbit, so the bits of the Hobbit story weren't put in the game for quite a long time. But I think Tolkien Enterprises, or whoever's in charge of things, decided that the game was doing a good job of representing Middle-earth. And they supported it. And it got the rights, and now there's Hobbit stuff in here. And the locations and that kind of thing. So there you go. Oh, very exciting. And we're heading around, and as you can see, there's goblin sign down there. Look, there's a goblin. They've kind of taken over this area ever since the dwarves passed through. So anyway, what happens up here is that there's a huge fight happens between giants and things, and snowfall and lots of avalanches and stuff, and they decide they'd better take shelter or they're all going to die. And that's what they do. And they go into a cave. And I think... we can't go that way, can we? Yes, we can. We're going to go around here. There's a big drop there. A few big drops to watch out for in these mountains, and this is mentioned in the story. Anyway, they come around and they're looking for shelter from the storm, and they follow a path into a sheltered crevasse. Crevasses are an iceberg. No, not icebergs. What do they call them? Glaciers. Yeah, crevasse is a glacier. Crevice is in rocks. Isn't that right? Don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments. So yes, and they find a cave and they go in there to hide. And when they go in, the cave is completely empty. It's not empty anymore. The goblins have moved in. But anyway, this was all closed off. Thorin and company and Bilbo sitting in the cave thinking, let's go to sleep. We've got away from the giants and the crazy storm outside. Then the goblins open the crack and they kidnap the dwarfs. Gandalf does a disappearing trick and everybody gets pulled down in here. And on the journey from here to the Great Goblin, which is where we're heading, Bilbo gets separated from the group and ends up in a different spot. So we're going to see where... let's go up this way. I like this way better. See if I can get this path worked out. I took a few detours the last time I did this. Here we go. Oh. Goblins and orcs and things. I've gone the wrong way again. Let's see, where do we go? We must have to go down here then. This looks better. I'll go down here. What we're trying to do is... so at this point the dwarves are all captured and they're hustled along by the goblins and told, you better just march along with us, chappies, and we're going to go and see the Great Goblin. He will know what to do with you. And then Thorin, etc. are all interrogated by the Great Goblin. I'm going to see if I can get downstairs here. Let's see, can we do that? Let's find some stairs. Maybe we'll just do a drop, shall we? Oh, there's some stairs over there. Let's get down there. Just want to go down the central path. Oh, that's all closed off. There's stairs. How do we get down there? Don't know. We'll go this way. We just got to keep heading downwards. And so this is Goblin Town in the game. It's a big area. And you can spend a lot of time in here adventuring, although those resources that I mentioned you can make money from, you don't get any in here. So if you were keeping your crafting going and buying resources and using them to make money, it gets kind of tedious in here because you're not going forward with that process. I think we'll just go down here if we can. Find some stairs. There's stairs. Let's get down there. So you're not going forward with that process in Goblin Town, so you can spend an awful lot of time in here. And there's lots of stuff to go and see, and there's plenty of adventures and quests and things to do. But as I say, it can get a bit... It's all a bit samey, really. You spend a lot of time in here, so and it's all one level, so or one or two levels, so you just get... Eventually you just get tired of it, I suppose. Anybody who's done the whole thing has put a lot of effort in. Where am I going now? God, I'm lost again. Oh, I know. That's a door. Alright, we keep going. And the doors are all hustled along here. All the way down to the Great Goblin's den. Which I don't think we can get into. It's an instance, and I don't think we can get through it either, so we may have to go around and pick up the story on the other side at some point. We'll see what we can do. We'll follow the oh, that flashy thing meant there's evil somewhere. There it is, look, evil. Cool. Okay, we're going to go this way. Anyway, Bilbo gets separated from the rest of the company. And he ends up in a different part of Goblin Town, and we're going to see if we can find that spot. And we'll see. So we're heading down towards the Great Goblin's hideout. I think we have to go all the way down here. There's another door. It's a big place, this. Big area. Not as big as Moria, but I mean, it's a significant adventuring area. And I think this came out... Yeah, this definitely came out before Moria, didn't it? So, this is a kind of a precursor. Probably they wet their teeth with Goblin Town and then built Moria, which is an amazing, as we've already seen, amazing area in the game. Those little flashes of seeing stuff means that I've passed somebody who's invisible. There he is. And oh, he's disappeared again. You pass somebody who's invisible. There's goblin spies in here. You can nail those guys. There, you see that? Where is he? Can we see him? Probably on the stairs. I saw a mouse. Where? There on the stair. Where on the stair? Right there. A little mouse with clogs on. No, a little goblin with clogs on. That's what it is. Okay, so. Yes. And here we are down at the Great Goblin's den, but Bilbo takes a different route. So he goes down this way. That's the den there. We're not going to do the instance because it's all going to take time. And it's not really that interesting. Bilbo didn't go that way anyway. He's gone this way. And we start seeing things down here that are a little bit memento of and a little bit of Tolkien callbacks to The Hobbit, things like that. We'll find one here in a minute, I think. Just looking for the right spot. Ooh, is it there? No. Somewhere along here. Might be behind that wall. No, behind this wall. Yes, look at this. So this is the goblins have drawn a picture of them. This is all the goblins being attacked by the White Wizard. Look, there's Gandalf. And the dwarfs all escaping by the eagles. I don't see any eagles. There's wolves here, though. There's wargs. See any eagles in that picture? No, there's the dwarfs in the trees, maybe, I don't know. So anyway, it's all kind of fun. Don't see any eagles, they haven't mentioned them. Okay, so we carry on. And then there's another spot down here where they put up a warning sign. Warning sign to make sure that no goblin goes that way, because there's somebody down here that eats goblins. And we're going to come across him in a minute. So yes, the goblins go that way. They don't come this way because, and there's their warning sign. They want to avoid this dude who eats goblins. There you see, there's goblins being eaten. And we're going to go and see him. But of course, this all happened 50 years ago, so Gollum is no longer here. But here's his cave. Gollum's cave. How exciting. And there's Gollum's little homey island place where he lived for thousands of years, eating goblins and fish from the lake. And, ooh, what's this fish you see along the shore? And somewhere to have riddles with hobbits. There's Gollum's little boat. Look at that. His little boat for moving across. And we don't have any sign of Bilbo's visit, but we'll go over to Gollum's Island. And I think we will end the video there. So there you go. We've got as far as Gollum's Island. Now we have to get out of here. And really, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get us up to the Great Goblin's Cave, and then there's no way out the other side of the mountain, so we have to backtrack and go around to the other side and try and pick up the Goblin's cave from the other side, the door on the other side. There is no door, in fact, as far as I can tell in the game. I don't think they've made one yet. Last time I looked, there wasn't one. So there you go, Gollum's Cave. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Good night.